Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I would say this video is a part two, but you do not have to watch them in any particular order. In my last video, I talked about a recent trip that I had to the UK and Paris. So in that video, I covered what I wore on the first part of the trip and the last part of the trip. So I went to London for a weekend, and then Paris for a week, and then Venice for 5 days after that. So yeah, did the kind of bookends of the trip, and I explained why I kind of paired them together in that video. But basically it's because I feel like the styles of those two places are a lot more similar. And then Paris, I find, is a lot more like New York aesthetically. And so yeah, I felt like this video kind of deserved its own. And I was also there the longest. I was in Paris for 7 full days, which was incredible. I'm so incredibly lucky to be able to have visited Paris for Paris Art Week. So I want to kind of jump into what I wore, but also why I wore what I wore, all the different things that I did. That way, if you're thinking about ever having a trip there, or you just want to like have a good time and dream and imagine through, the cool things I got to see that I'm really happy to share with you all, so be that as well. So let's jump right in. I'm going to try not to make the intro of this video too long, but in the beginning, I took the Eurostar from London to Paris, which I absolutely adore. I wish I could always travel by train. I think it's the best way to travel. It's so much less stressful than flying. So I was over the moon knowing that I was able to get to Paris from London. And so to make a long story short, I lost my passport in London. It was horrific. And some kind stranger ended up returning it, and magically I ended up getting it back the day I needed to leave, which never happens, mind you. Like, I understand how lucky I am. And so the reason I'm telling you this is because the first outfit that I'm going to share with you, which is my travel outfit, I am a mess. I'm a mess aesthetically. I am a mess emotionally because I'd spent the whole night crying. I realized my passport was missing actually that Sunday night, and we had an 8 a.m. train on Monday. We couldn't find the passport. We ended up missing the train, ended up finding the passport around 9:30 a.m. And so we booked tickets for about 3 p.m. later that day. It was just the next train that had seats for us. So again, we were very lucky, but this is why I look like I've been crying all night, because I have been crying all night. And so I do just want to call that out, but I am wearing clothes. I just want to be comfortable and cozy because emotionally I'm a total wreck. So I was wearing my scarf jacket, first of all. I brought 2 different jackets on this trip. I brought the same jacket actually in 2 different colors. So the jacket from COS, and this is the charcoal version in the pinstripe. And again, because Paris has kind of more of like a darker color palette I tend to wear when I'm there, just because it fits in better, similar to New York. And so I wore the darker jacket, and then I ended up wearing the cream jacket a lot more in London and Venice. So I wore that jacket. I wore my COS little barrel cropped trousers just because they're super comfortable. I wore an oversized quince cashmere sweater because like these are my favorite things in the world. In fact, I just picked up this one. It finally came back in stock. This is the V-neck but in black, and I really loved the way that Tamara, not to go off on a tangent, but she wore her V-neck black sweaters with a cute little white just t-shirt underneath, and I loved having that kind of contrast. And it kind of reminded me actually of some of my outfits in Paris, so I thought it was appropriate for this video, but did just want to call that out. I will leave everything I'm wearing linked below. I'm also wearing some of my favorite Agnes little silver earrings. So feeling very, very cute today. But yes, and then I'm also wearing just some black Polo Ralph Lauren socks and then my black Birkenstocks. I wore my flattered burgundy bag because I wanted to be able to have easy access to my passport and wallet and all of those things, in addition to my tote bag, which was carrying, my computers and all that stuff, and then my suitcases. So this is what I wore to the train station. Again, this outfit is really nothing to write home about. I don't think it's bad by any means. I just wanted to kind of explain why I look a little more disheveled than I normally would. So that is what I wore. We ended up getting in as the sun was setting. It was around nighttime. And again, so emotionally spent, super tired. We ended up checking in the hotel. We stayed at a really great hotel in Marais called Charles V. Really small boutique hotel. And I will say the hotel rooms in Paris are teeny tiny, but we're never really in them. So my partner did have to work a little bit in them, which was fine. So if he was working or if I had to do some work, I would actually just go work downstairs in the lobby, and then he would work upstairs for hours, and that worked out perfectly fine. And so, yeah, I just wanted to call that out though. If you've never seen a Paris hotel room, they are teeny weeny, but they're very cute and very aesthetic. And this place was really great. I'll try to insert. Again, I was so flustered by the time we got there. I was just so happy to be there. I actually didn't film as much as I normally would in a hotel room like I did in Venice. And so, yeah, I think I might only have pictures of the hotel room because I was just yeah, losing my mind at that point. So we got there quite late and we were just tired. Obviously, we had quite a long day of travel and no sleep the night before. And so we wanted to just have a light, healthy dinner. So we went to our favorite place, Wild in the Moon. It's like a fast casual vegan restaurant, and we got an amazing cauliflower soup with these incredible little seed crackers that, like, everything they have is amazing. They have really great cold salads you can grab to go. They have juices, they have desserts. It's like our favorite place to go, and there's like multiple of them in Paris. It's our favorite place to go when we need a little bit of nutrition, a little bit of a balance from all of the really heavy French food that's very heavy on like bread and meat and whatnot. So it's great to have a vegan restaurant to kind of balance things out. So that was the perfect thing to do because it's quick and it was easy. So we walked over there from the hotel. It was about a 20-minute walk. And then we just picked up a little wine and a little cheese to have back at the hotel, kind of for a little dessert. I do understand the irony, getting cheese after eating at a vegan restaurant, but I'm not vegan. I just eat vegan sometimes. So anyway, we went to our favorite fromagerie, which again, I will leave linked down below. They always are incredible. They give really great suggestions based on the cheeses you're picking. They'll tell you what kind of wines go well with it, and you can buy wine in the store as well. So yeah, then we just went back to the hotel room and had a really quiet, chill night because we were going to hit the ground running on Tuesday. We had a lot to do on this trip and a lot of great things to see. So in full disclosure, the first day is the outfit I probably felt the best in and the most confident in. This is an outfit that I talked about in my original costs video when I purchased this dress, and I loved wearing it with this similar costs cream heavy duty polo that I'd actually had for a couple of seasons, and I hadn't worn it that much, but it is perfection under a dress like this. I just think the neckline is so nice. The row, this is based off of a dress from the Row that's like around $4,000. So definitely different price point. This is a boiled wool dress from COS, but the Row one had a little bit of a deeper V, and they paired it again with like a little t-shirt like this underneath. I actually love wearing it with a collar. It gives it a little more of like a preppy kind of cheeky vibe. And this heavy duty polo was just the ticket. I love it so much. Also, it was a lot warmer and rainier in Paris this time of year than it normally is. It normally is rainy, but it's not normally this warm. And so I didn't really need to wear a jacket. In fact, I got a little bit warm just in this outfit because the dress is wool, of course. And I wore it with my AD little pointed Judy heels that I wore throughout this whole trip. I love these shoes. I also wear these shoes a ton in New York. I just love the brand AD in general. I think they make the most incredible shoes. They're a brand based out of Berlin. I've talked about them in a separate video all on its own, which I will leave linked above and below if you want to check that out. But I absolutely love these shoes, so much so that I have them in two colors. This is the black pair, and then I also have them in a dark chocolate brown, and they're just this beautiful suede. The heel is so small. It's very easy to walk in a city like Paris that has cobblestone streets and stuff like that. And I love the point of the toe because it just adds that sort of ladylike delicacy to the outfit, and it makes it look like I'm wearing a lot taller of a heel than I actually am. So I absolutely loved this look, and I wore it with my little Savette Pouchette in black and silver. This is another brand that I just can't get enough of right now. I love them. I just love the sleek, minimal design, but it still has enough personality with the little silver features to it. It's also such a great size. I could put everything I needed for the day in it. So yeah, I was really, really happy with this outfit overall. And so this particular day, we went to the park because we wanted to take some photos in this great outfit, which is great. Place de Vogue. So that is this is such a famous park. It's like all the bajillionaires of Paris used to live there. So I can't believe I forgot that name. But we walked around this really beautiful park. Our hotel was about 7 to 10 minute walk to the park. So enjoyed that in the morning, and that was great. And then we went around to a lot of art galleries in Le Marais. There are so many galleries. I mean, I didn't even scratch the surface of all of them, and I discovered even more on this trip. And as I mentioned in a few videos before, I have I have an Instagram and an art kind of YouTube channel where I go more into depth around the actual art. In this channel, I like to focus more on the fashion and beauty kind of aspects of my life. But if you are interested in learning more about art, that is a great, I mean, I'm biased, it's my channel, but that's a great place to go. So I will leave that linked below if you want to check that out, and above too. But yeah, so I will have other Paris videos in those videos, and that's where a lot of this footage is coming from. It's like for those art videos. And so, yeah, so we saw a ton of galleries, and the galleries in Paris are some of the most beautiful in the world. They're my apps. That and Mexico City are my two favorites. Totally different architecture, but like very unique buildings that are just absolutely stunning, tucked away in these beautiful little magical little courtyards. Like, even if you don't like art, visiting a couple art galleries, I cannot recommend doing that enough in Paris, just because of the settings. And it's free. It's such a great activity to do and get immersed in some of the culture, and it's just such an amazing activity to do anytime you're in a major city, in my opinion. So we did a lot of galleries in Le Marais, and then we went and had lunch at our absolute favorite place to have lunch in Le Marais, which is Cafe Charlot. I kind of think he might own the place, but he is also a waiter there, and he speaks 5 different languages. He's like not what you think of when you think of a French waiter. He's so funny, so nice, like very accommodating. I mean, very blunt, but like kind of New York in that sense. And so, yeah, just super nice, not your typical French, like, hungry you kind of thing. He's amazing, and we love him, and we love Cafe Charlot. I love their goat cheese salad. Oh, the goat cheese salad is like 10 out of 10 with a little glass of white wine. It's the best. And you can people watch, and you can sit outside, and it's like the ultimate French experience. I love Cafe Charlot so very much. So we had a really amazing lunch there, and then ended up having to go back to the hotel again because my partner had to do some work. I sort of organized content and worked while he was doing that as well. And then because he had pretty late meetings, we needed to have a relatively fast dinner. So we actually just went to a pizza restaurant, which was right down the street, like a block away from our hotel, which was very convenient. You guys, this was the best pizza I've ever had. I made us go back another time on this trip, and I never do that. Well, to be fair, we went to Cafe Charlotte twice on this trip, but this was such incredible pizza, and it was so close to our apartment. I adored it. In fact, when we were sitting outside enjoying our pizza. We even got a Nutella pizza for dessert, which was phenomenal. Sitting there, we're enjoying our pizza. We had about, 30, 45 minutes to eat. And this woman walks by with her dog, and the dog starts pulling, and she was an American, and she just goes, "Oh yeah, it's not like we eat here all the time." Because it's so good. And it is also a chain, kind of like Wild of the Moon. I think there's 3 different ones throughout Paris, and it's called, in French, of course, but the English translation is the cherry on the pizza. And it was, oh God, it was just so good. And it was really chill, and it was a really nice way to kind of ease in to the day on Tuesday. So that was Tuesday. And then Wednesday was a little bit busier, kind of. So this trip was nice. We didn't have to squeeze like too much into every single day. And I actually kind of liked that my partner had to work during it, because it gave me time to organize my content and do a lot of other stuff. So that was really helpful, or just to like take a break after seeing stuff all throughout the day. Wednesday was a bit of a heat wave, and I did pack for an emergency heat wave. I brought some Zara shorts, so some black. This is my trick. If you are worried about it ever becoming too hot on a trip, first of all, always pack a swimsuit no matter what. It takes up no room, and you'll be really mad at yourself if you don't have one in case you need one. And then number two, I would say, always pack something just in case the weather is completely different than what it was supposed to be. So it's like super hot or super cold. So whether that's bring a jacket or a light jacket or bring shorts. And my trick is, if you still want to dress fall-esque, but it's hot, is to bring a pair of like black tailored shorts and wear just some really sheer black tights. My favorite sheer black tights I get from Amazon. It took me a really long time to find ones that were comfortable because honestly, I kind of hate tights. I hate when they're really tight. I don't like that. I want them to be barely there. I don't really want to feel them, which unfortunately that means they sometimes can snag a little bit easier, but which I know is not environmentally friendly, but the ones I get from Amazon come in a pack of like 5. So if I do snag a pair, I have another pair. So yeah, I'll leave those linked below. But basically this was my trick, and I ended up having to wear it because it was about 75 degrees Fahrenheit on Wednesday. And it was super hot. And again, we were going to see a bunch of galleries in the 8th arrondissement, I think is how you say it. And so we were, again, we're going to be walking around a lot, but I wanted to be comfortable. So I wore these sheer black tights, these black tailored shorts from Zara, which were from a few seasons ago. I'll try to leave some similar ones that you can still get below. And then I wore just a black t-shirt and then my black AD ballet flats. And then I did throw my COS little brown jacket over it just to give some visual interest to the outfit, as well as my little civet beige bag. But to be perfectly honest, I didn't really wear it. I took it off when we were walking between places because it did get so warm. But this worked out for the day. And then I wore my little Celine sunnies. So yeah, we walked all over and saw galleries. The galleries in the 8th are a lot fancier, a lot more established artists, really big name galleries like Gagosian and David Werner, and really stunning buildings. I love the Scarsdale building. It's so great. And they're all really close to one another, which is the other thing that's really nice. This is also where a lot of the really luxury shopping is. So, I mean, you look down the street and it's like Saint Laurent, Bottega, like you name it, the store is there. And then we ended up walking over to Place Vendôme, which is another place where there's tons and tons and tons of luxury shopping. And we did that because we wanted to see a little bit of the park, which is across the street, as well as we wanted to go to lunch at Hotel Cost, which is another favorite of ours. However, wasn't really my favorite this time, I'm not gonna lie. They kind of sat us in a weird spot. Yeah, it's worth going to one time, but the vibes were that typical snooty French, like, I don't know, it was quite interesting, but we did have a really great lunch. I will say the food was good. We had a nice club sandwich. That's my favorite thing for us to get, is just to split a great club sandwich with some fries. Again, have a nice glass of white wine. There's something about day drinking in Paris that's just like different than anywhere else. And maybe because you're on vacation, I'm just like, yeah, I'll have a glass of white wine and enjoy myself and have an espresso after. So yeah, so that was our very fancy lunch. And then we ended up going back to the hotel, again, doing a little bit of work and stuff. And then that night we had a very special dinner, another one of my favorite places. So I ended up changing, not that you need to dress particularly nice for this restaurant. I mean, you could just get away with like a nice black pant and a top, but I mean, I want to look nice. And you guys know I like dressing up. So I changed again into my COS boiled wool dress. I had a little 3/4 sleeve wool top that I also wore in London when I went to dinner, or no, maybe in Venice. I don't know. I wore this another time at a later date. And it's just a great way to kind of bring a little bit of warmth underneath. Not that I needed a lot. Again, I didn't even wear a jacket. I just had on this kind of merino wool, very sheer top, and then the dress over the top of that, and then my little AD heels and my civet couchette. And I was definitely the most dressed up person there, but again, I thought I looked nice. I felt very nice, and We went to Entrecote. So Entrecote is like a classic Parisian. They don't take reservations. You have to wait in line. I would highly recommend going at right before they open. So I think they open at 6 and we got there at like 5:45 or 40. You don't have to get there too early, but we definitely got there 20 to 30 minutes before they opened. And we were very early on in line. The line starts going down the block. And when you get inside, it's this old school French restaurant with all these old French posters and things. Like the vibes are incredible. It's such an amazing sort of classic French restaurant. And you only get one choice. So everyone eats the same thing. And this is also what I love about this restaurant, because you don't have to sit there and think, oh, what do I want to get? Yada, yada, yada. And so basically they ask you how you like your steak. So you get 2 servings of steak in this incredible sauce, and then you get 2 servings of little thin fries, and then you can pick a dessert. And obviously you can pick wine or coffee, and then they give you a little salad. I think it's like a little Caesar salad in the beginning. And it's phenomenal, and it's so, so, so good and so much fun. And the waitresses are all dressed up, and it's just like such an incredible experience, and it's fantastic. And yeah, I love it. Also, if you don't speak a lot of French, great place to go, because everyone gets the same thing. You can kind of be like medium well, and they like know what you're talking about. You don't have to say it in French. So always a great time. And I always get this yummy dessert that actually comes in chocolate or strawberry, and I've had both and they're amazing, but it looks insane. It's got like whipped cream, and it's like a child's dessert that they order on their birthday party, but I get it every time and I'm obsessed with it. It's got whipped cream, ice cream. It's got like wafer kind of situation in it. I don't know. It's just like huge and insane, and it's so good. So then the next day was Thursday, and this was the day that we were going to go to Art Basel Paris, because this was the VIP opening day. And I wanted to get in early to get pictures and kind of see everything. And so for this one, like any art fair, I do love dressing up. I usually wear like a suit or a dress or just something kind of nice. You know, it's kind of a fun event where like everyone's getting together and you just kind of want to look nice. So I was really excited to wear my black totem cashmere dress that I got. I mentioned it in some What's New in My Wardrobe video. I got this, it was like the steal of the century off of the Real Real. This was originally like a $1,400 dress, and I ended up getting it for $200. Mostly because it was very poorly merchandised on the Real Real. They had the shawl just like hanging off the back awkwardly. So I put this on, and then I had my Savette little clay symmetry bag, because when I'm wearing head to toe black, I do like having a little bit of a pop of neutral something. I wouldn't say color, but like some kind of contrast. And this bag is nice for that. And again, we were just walking all day because we were going to see galleries in the morning and then go to the fair later that day. And it was raining that day, unfortunately. So I wanted to wear just little black leather ballet little Mary Janes that I have from Zara, that I wasn't worried too much about getting them messed up. And yeah, they kind of just are incognito under the dress. So we ended up getting some coffee that morning at this place called Le Coffee, which is this really cute, charming coffee place, very chic in Le Marais. And again, like I said, it was raining, unfortunately, but we both brought umbrellas on this trip. That's another thing I would advise, is bring umbrellas, even if it's a little one. And if you don't need it, you'll be much happier that you had it. And then we went to see more galleries in Le Marais. So basically the part of Le Marais that we didn't cover, like over here, we ended up going and seeing more galleries there, which was so much fun. In fact, there was this one space, I'd been to Marion Goodman Gallery before, but they never opened up this back room, which was kind of this like cellar area. It was very French, very interesting looking. And they had paintings down there, which was very cool. So yeah, it was cool to see other parts of galleries that, even though I'm familiar with them, like never been to this particular area of them. And I also went to a couple new galleries as well. There was an Austin Uzer show that I really wanted to see at a gallery that I'd never been to before. So that was quite fun. Then we went to, which is ironic because we went there the day before, but Entrecote, I guess like each child has kind of taken the brand and done something different with it. So there's the main Entrecote, which we went to the night before. And then this kid started this sort of like lunch place, which takes the concept of Entrecote, which has the steak and the fries and the sauce, and then they put it onto this sandwich, like a sub sandwich almost. And so it's all the deliciousness of everything we had the night before, but they put it on a sandwich. And it's like super casual, and you just go and you eat at the little tables outside, like just on stools and whatnot. And it was so, so good. It was just as good as the restaurant the night before. Honestly, I was like, oh, like I eat more meat in France than I do probably the whole year in the US. Like they do meat like no other. It is so delicious over there. I'm not trying to offend anyone that doesn't eat meat. I totally understand it's a personal thing, but yeah, the steak is so freaking good over there. So we had that for lunch, which was incredible. And then we headed over to Art Basel, which was incredible. Incredible. First of all, it's too much to see in one day. And we also didn't have that much time. We only had about an hour and a half before my partner had to start meetings again. And so we really had to buzz through it. I ended up actually staying later to take more photos and content and do stuff. And then I ended up having to go back the next day. And so it is massive, massive. Art Basel is the largest art fair in the world. So then Art Basel Paris, no shocker that it's also quite large. And so, yeah, I saw so many incredible things, but most importantly, it is back at the Grand Palais, which in itself is just the most incredible venue. It's where they had the last Chanel fashion show. It has been closed for the last 5 years. So I was really fortunate to be able to go to an art fair here. There used to be an art fair in Paris called FIAC, and I went to, I don't know if it was 2017 or 2018, but whatever the last year was before they closed. Went to the fair there, most incredible experience of my life. I mean, there's nothing like it when you're just looking up and seeing all this incredible architecture around you and watching the sun kind of move through the glass. It's just, there's nothing like it. It's absolutely stunning. And so it felt really good to have the fair back there again. There was just all this energy in the room that everyone else clearly was so excited to be back there again. So I have a whole video again devoted just to the fair if you want to actually see a ton of the art and stuff. It's quite long. It's almost 40 minutes long, so I'll leave that linked below. But yeah, the fair was incredible. And then again, because my partner had meetings and stuff that night, I was like, can we have pizza again? So we ended up just going back to the pizza place, and I'm sure I wore something like super casual. In fact, I'm pretty sure what I ended up wearing, even though I don't actually have video documentation of it, but I'll leave it linked to the side. I'm pretty sure I had on my silk quince drawstring pants because that's what I was working in down in the lobby. And then that oversized quince little cashmere sweater, but the crew neck version because I didn't have this one at the time. And then my little Judy heels. Such a great outfit to look like dressed up, but be basically wearing pajamas. It was incredibly comfortable and really nice. So the next day, we actually went to 2 art fairs. So a lot more art because, again, we didn't cover as much ground at Art Basel Paris that we wanted to. So I was dressed a little more casual today. I mean, you can kind of see my outfit start to go more and more casual as the trip goes on. I will also say that as I got a lot of my photos and stuff taken, I was like, okay, cool. Like I have my nice photos. Now I'm like, just kind of want to be comfortable. So by the time we got to a lot of the museum shows, I was like, throw on the Birkenstocks and just be very, very comfortable at that point as I was getting kind of more worn out throughout the trip. So yeah, so this day I was wearing my charcoal pinstriped COS. It was a little bit cooler that day, so I had on that jacket. And then I wore my ADN button-up shirt that has a stand-up collar, which unfortunately you can't really see in this video, and I really need to iron it. It got very, very wrinkled on this trip, so sorry for what you're seeing. The cutaways here, it usually looks really, really nice. This is a Paris brand that I really, really love. I wore this dress from them non-stop at the beginning of fall. It was like the perfect transitional piece from summer into fall because it was kind of a heavier linen blend material, but it was still linen, so it was nice and breathable. So yeah, big fan of this brand, and it's Parisian, so I love wearing a Paris brand in Paris because I'm a loser like that. So yeah, I had that on, and then I had my COS cropped barrel, just black wool trousers because you can't go wrong with those. And so I really love this just like very slouchy, oversized look to everything. This is very Parisian effortlessness in my opinion. Then I had on my Massimo Dutti suede little flats that I love so much. And then to match the kind of beige in those, I had my little Savette symmetry bag. And then, yeah, that was my outfit for the day. And it was so incredibly comfortable because, again, we went to Art Basel again, which was so much fun. I actually was able to have a painting done of myself by one of my favorite artists, which was like the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. And then we ended up going to another art fair, which was more focused on emerging art galleries and emerging artists. So Art Basel does have some emerging galleries and artists, but it's a much smaller subset. They really focus on more established blue chip kind of galleries and artists. So I went to Salon, which is put on by a company, a nonprofit company called NADA, which is the New Art Dealers Alliance. I always want to say association. I don't know why, but it's basically a place where all the emerging galleries can come together and share resources and knowledge. And they have art fairs in Paris and Miami. And then, well, let me rephrase that. They have art fairs in New York and Miami. They've been doing those for years. And then this is the very first one that they've ever had in Paris. And they partnered up with another, not sure if it's a nonprofit, but another entity in Paris called the Community. So this art fair was called the Salon. And I really had no idea what to expect because, again, it was the first year. And in fact, they actually apparently changed venues like 3 weeks before. So it wasn't even going to be in this particular building. The building was kind of crazy. You're walking into it and you're like, where am I going? And then you get inside and it's really beautiful, but it's this like labyrinth of stairs and corridors and glass. And you're just, I don't even know if I saw everything, to be honest, because I felt like I was getting lost in an IKEA in a great way, but I was just like, where am I? And so we saw so many things. We did have lunch there. I ended up having the best empanada of my life. So random, but it was, maybe I was just starving. I don't know, but it was such a good empanada. And so, yeah, we were really arted out at that point. So we just wanted to have a very casual dinner. And so we went back to Cafe Charlot in the Marais. I was wearing the exact same outfit, except for I had to put my glasses on because it was getting dark and I have been needing to see them at night more and more. These are just my little Warby Parker glasses that I love. And they're called the Abe. They're like a brushed ink. Really love them. And yeah, I had a big juicy burger and a glass of red wine and went to bed and it was great. So yeah, I can't complain about that. So for the final 2 days, I told you all this was a long, long trip. That's why Paris needed to be its own video because we did so much. Even though we had a lot of time, we also did a lot. So now let's get to day 5. This was my birthday. So that's also why we do this trip, or we're able to do this trip, is because not only does it fall on all of these incredible art events, which I cover for my other channels, but I also get to celebrate my birthday in Paris, which is really fun and very special every single time. And so yeah, I've been doing that for the last couple of years and it's always been really great. So this was my birthday, and on the docket for that day, we're going to the Louis Vuitton Foundation, which is a museum. So I had a really incredible birthday breakfast in bed, and I had some croissants and macarons and just like really very French kind of lazy morning with coffee. And then I ended up getting dressed into this Bordeaux knitted dress from COS that I love so much. I dressed it down a little bit for daytime because obviously I want to look nice, but we're walking around a museum. And so I paired it with my Marais sock boots that are also a new addition to my wardrobe. And they kind of give like a cool factor vibe to any sort of a midi skirt of any bit. I also like pairing it with my faux leather skirt from Pixie Market. But yeah, I think these shoes just bring a really nice kind of streamline alternative look to an outfit. So yeah, great to wear with the Bordeaux. And then it was pretty cold, so I actually ended up keeping my scarf jacket on throughout most of the museum. But we went to the museum and we started with let me back up a little bit. So this museum is really special. Obviously, it is the Louis Vuitton Foundation. And Frank Gehry designed this building, and it is the coolest building. I'm such a fan of Frank Gehry as an architect. He's just done incredible buildings all over the world that are unlike any other. And every time you see one of his buildings, you're just like, that's a Gehry building. Like He's incredible, and this building is absolutely incredible. Looks sort of like a flying ship of sorts. And the other thing that I love about this museum specifically is, unlike most museums where they have this huge private collection and then they have traveling exhibitions that are good, but they're just a small piece of what the museum is about. And it's usually more about, visiting the private or visiting the permanent collection. This museum doesn't have a permanent collection, and they really just focus on these huge traveling exhibitions that are on for like 3 to 4 months at a time, and they have a couple a year, and they're like the best of the best of the best. I don't even know how long it probably takes them to organize these shows. They bring pieces in, like normally a museum would bring in like 1 or 2 star pieces. Like say you're having a Van Gogh exhibit, you want to have Starry Night and then some sunflowers, and like that's the big thing for the show. And then the rest are kind of more unknown works. They will bring in everything. The Basquiat show there, every freaking Basquiat that existed, they flew in. Like I don't even want to know what kind of insurance they have because it's wild. But they had a pop art show, so a lot of works by, mostly focused on Tom Besselman. But they also had some emerging artists they sort of sprinkled in around it as well, like Cause and Jeff Koons and things like that. But yeah, so we ended up having lunch at the very beginning because I don't think they took reservations. We didn't have reservations, and they were like, oh, well, we're opening right now, so if you want to eat here, do it now, basically. So we had a really lovely lunch at Le Franc, which is named after Frank Gehry. It's the restaurant in the museum, and I got a pasta that was delicious, but it was way too rich. It was a truffle pasta, and I thought I was gonna die. So the lady was like, is it okay? Do you like it? I was like, no, I like it. I had no idea it was gonna be so intense. But overall, it's a really, really lovely restaurant. I would recommend getting that probably, but yeah, we had a lovely, lovely lunch, and then we saw the exhibit, which was really great. And then you can also go up on the roof and see really beautiful views of Paris. You can even see the Eiffel Tower, which is really cool. So we walked all around the roof. And again, there was such a huge exhibit. It was like 4 floors of these pop artworks. So we were there for about 4 hours, I would say. So this was like really the majority of our day, and it was such an incredible day. It was such a lovely way to spend my birthday. So we ended up going back to the hotel. I always want to say the apartment. Do you guys do that when you're talking about things? And then when I'm home, I call my apartment a house, which is not a house, it's an apartment, but whatever. So basically, we went back to the hotel. I was able to take a nap, which is the greatest birthday gift of all. And then we had a very special dinner at Cafe Marais, which is a restaurant that is in the Louvre. So if you go to the Louvre, you can actually eat and then look out and see the glass pyramids. It is so magical. It's such a beautiful restaurant. And yeah, we just had the most magical time. And I wore the same dress, the beautiful Bardot knitted dress off the shoulder. And then, of course, I took my jacket off, so I looked a little bit nicer. And then I had on heels as well as my little Savette Pouchette bag. So that's what I wore on my birthday. And then you guys, we made it to the final day. At this point, my feet were hurting. I was pretty tired. But we went to the Pinot Foundation. So we had a pretty chill day on our last day. Oh, that's not true, actually. Yeah, we went to a mall that morning because my partner was looking for some suits and things for our wedding. And the Samaritain is like this incredible, incredible department store. Galeries Lafayette is also really, really beautiful, but Samaritain is like, oh, I just love it. You'll know what I'm talking about when I insert video of it, because you'll be like, holy junk, I can't believe this is a real place. It's so beautiful, and it's just incredible to walk around. You can have coffee at the very top of it. So we ended up going upstairs and having an espresso and just enjoying ourselves. And then, yeah, we didn't end up buying anything, but it's really cool to see all of the different things. I mean, there's everything you could imagine. It's owned by LVMH, so of course there's a ton of like Dior and all the LVMH brands, but there's also Gucci and Kering brands and stuff too there. So it's a really, really stunning place. Highly recommend just like popping your head in if you can, just because it's very cool inside. So we spent the morning there kind of wandering around and like shopping, even though we didn't buy anything. But then we went over to the Pinot Foundation. Oh, I didn't even tell you what I was wearing. So again, I'm wearing the same scarf jacket from class that you're probably very tired of seeing at this point between these two videos, but I wore the cream one to shake it up. So I'm wearing the cream one here. And then I'm just wearing a little black t-shirt. Again, my COS barrel trousers, just a pair of black trousers in general. I just can't tell you how much I love black trousers. They're everything. And they just go with everything. They're just the best. And these are great because they're cropped. And then I ended up wearing them with my little black Birkenstocks because again, I knew we'd be walking a lot. We were walking, it took us about 30 minutes even just to walk to the department store from our hotel. And so I knew I'd be walking again, like 20,000 steps that day. So I wanted the arch support. And then over that I had on, because it was cooler, my little oversized quince black cashmere, and then my Savette clay symmetry bag, because again, it added a nice contrast between all of the black, but it also looked really nice with the cream coat. So that was my outfit for the day. The other thing I really loved about, I don't think I mentioned this, but I wore the symmetry bag a ton in Paris because it's the strap. You can tuck the strap in and make it like a little pochette, or you can take the strap out and wear it as a crossbody. So when we were walking on the street or when we were taking the metro, I love the Paris subway. I highly recommend taking the subway. It's very safe. It's very clean. They even have barriers that come up in most of the stations. So like no one can like push you onto the tracks, which is a thing in New York, unfortunately. So it's really, really beautiful and very efficient and very easy to navigate, even speaking zero French. And so I love it. But at the same time, you know, I want to be secure. And so I always usually just wear like a crossbody strap bag. So I love that I can take this bag and make it really safe and secure for when I'm out and about or in a really busy area. And then when I get to kind of a more chill area, like the department store or whatever, I can turn it into the little pochette if I want. So I love the versatility of this bag for that reason. It's just, yeah, it's one of my favorite bags ever. I definitely will probably end up getting this bag at some point in my life in like a black and gold combination. But yeah, I really, really, really love this bag for that reason. And it's a great, great travel bag. And then to end the night, we had dinner at one of our, I keep saying our favorite, we went to all of our favorite places, which was so great, or almost all of our favorite places. So we went to Chez Janou, which is a really adorable little restaurant. I will say very hard to get reservations for. We went on the very first day of our trip and the only time we were able to get was on Sunday. So basically a week later, and you can try to call them. They probably won't answer. So I would try. You can also have lunch there if you can't get in at nighttime, but I love it at night. I love the inside. Again, it's like really old school French. I love their steak and fries, and they have this incredible chocolate mousse that they're famous for, where they bring it in like a big pot and then they put it on your thing, and it's just, their wine is incredible. We had a really nice little digestif afterward. It's just like my happy place. I love it. It's just like so cozy and French and amazing, and yeah, I love it. So it was really great to be able to end our Paris trip there. And then, yeah, we ended up flying out to Venice in the morning. So that's where this trip ends and that trip resumes. So if you haven't seen that video, definitely be sure to check that out. But in general, yeah, hope this helped. If again, you're thinking about planning a trip or just kind of curious what I'm wearing and why I'm wearing it. And yeah, I was very, very happy with everything that I wore. I was comfortable, but I also felt confident. So you can't really complain about that combo. And I will see you guys in my next video.